Well, Scarlet and Violet booster boxes are absolutely taking off. So today we're going to be talking about each box, what their current price is at, what they're selling up to, and we're going to be talking about why and what I think the future is for Scarlet and Violet. I'll give you a hint, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. This is just the start, and I think this should be a sign if you haven't gotten a position on a box you want, get it immediately right after this video. Finish this video, but after this video. Alright, now let's firstly talk about what's going on. So the first 6 sets of Scarlet and Violet are actually going out of print next year. So what this means is that after next year, they're guaranteed to not get any print waves. Now, what this has done is it's creating this sense of FOMO where people are looking at that and they're going, okay, well I need to buy it immediately. Now here's the thing, because Paldea Evolved is taking off Scarlet and Violet base, Paradox Rift, 151 Paldean Fates, what that is doing is that is creating this sense of FOMO. And that's why we're seeing all these booster boxes going up. That's why we're seeing Justin Rao selling all the way up to $406. So we have a couple confirmed sales here, so let's just quickly go over them. So Scarlet Violet base is selling all the way up to $263, which is a very, very respectable amount. And that honestly just makes a lot of sense. Scarlet Violet base is an okay set, but you know what? It was the OG, it was there first, and quite frankly, it's the oldest out of all of them. So it does sort of make sense that it's got a bit of life in it. But then when you move on to a set that, may not be as old, but it has higher quality, that's where we really start to see the gains. Paldea Evolved, I'm not kidding, this is a real sale, confirmed. It sold for all the way up to $550. That is absolutely bonkers. And you know what? Once again, it makes sense because it is the best set that's going out of rotation next year. It's the best booster box that is going to be out of print in the next couple of years. Now, what this does is this means that most people are consolidating into that, because if you think about it, you look at Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces, Scarlet Violet base, if I'm being honest with you, those are not bad sets, but they've got nothing on Paldea Evolved. So that's why Paldea Evolved is just doing so good. But anyways, Obsidian Flames is up to $435. That's what it's selling to at the max. That's pretty honestly amazing, but at the same time, Obsidian Flames was short printed. It only ever got one print wave, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Realistically, if it did get another print wave, it would have been near Scarlet Violet base, but I guess I kind of got lucky, right? Alrighty, next on the list, which is Paradox Rift, that is selling all the way up to 308 USD. Makes sense. It's not as much as the other ones, but then we look at Temporal Forces, which is 275. The fact that Temporal Forces is less than Paradox Rift is so stupid because it has the Ghastly and the Morty's Conviction, which is actually blowing up in price. Surprise to nobody, they're phenomenal cards. And then you've got Twilight Masquerade, which is all the way up to $362. Stellar Crown, which is $302. Surging Sparks, which is $285. Journey Together, which is $280, and then Desmorales, which is $406. So I just want to say, did you notice how Journey Together and Surging Sparks are actually selling for almost the least, even though they are light years ahead of the other sets? Like, we can both agree Journey Together and Surging Sparks are light years ahead of Paradox Rift, Scarlet Violet base, and the Temporal Forces Stellar Crown. We can all agree that those are, those two sets, Journey Together and Surging Sparks, are better than those. But you know what's funny about them? Because they're newer, they're not shining as much now, because their time will be in the future. So if you're holding Surging Sparks, if you're holding Journey Together, and you're not seeing that many gains, don't get worried, because in the future, that's when we'll see the real gains for those. Right now, the focus is on the older ones. So the reason why we're seeing a bunch of money shift into Scarlet Violet is because a lot of people are simply taking profits. Think about it. Someone bought a Gold Star Rayquaza for $2,000. Now that dude is worth $15,000. They're selling it, putting it straight into Scarlet Violet. Someone just sold every single day Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, all those boxes. Every day they're selling. Where do you think that money is going? It's going straight in Scarlet Violet, because we get into this part with the era, which I like to call the crunch zone. The reason is because it's very intense. A lot of stuff happens really quickly where a lot of people jump into it and put all their profits into it at the same time, and we see this massive run up. You see booster boxes now being 250, 230. That's cheap. Back in the day, that's nothing. And this is something I tried to talk about for months on end, is that at the end of the day, eventually these prices will be considered cheap. And quite frankly, now we see 220, 210, those prices which were outrageous, now is actually a really good price compared to these. Now, you look at sets like Paldea Evolved, which is selling all the way up to $550. That is ridiculous. Now, consistently, it's more like the $450 range, but there is a sale confirmed all the way up to that price. So that's pretty ridiculous. Now, what does this tell us? This tells us that there is a lot more confidence in Scarlet and Violet than people realize. What we were originally told. You see, we were told that Sun and Moon was the last era that's ever going to go up. And then Sword and Shield went on a massive run up, and then people went, all right. Scarlet Violet is definitely not going to do what Sword and Shield just did. And now we're seeing it again. You see, I believe that Scarlet Violet is better than Sword and Shield, but my opinion doesn't mean anything. Let's look at the numbers. Well, what the numbers tell us is maybe it's better, maybe it's worse. We don't really know. The numbers can't tell us that. But what it can tell us is that more people care about Scarlet Violet. You see, something doesn't have to be better for it to perform better. You see, you could get two books, okay? One book has a well-known author. The guy has a great history of making books, and the other guy is a brand new author. People a lot of time will regard the more known author. They'll almost add like this bias to it where they're like, wow, this is amazing, this is phenomenal. Maybe there's this other book that's lesser known and people don't really talk about it. It's the same thing as Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. You look at Sword and Shield and a lot of people have gone into the hobby. They see Fusion Strike as like this set that like came out a couple years ago. I see Fusion Strike as a brand new set. I see Silver Tempest as a brand new set. But for a lot of people who are new to Scarlet and Violet, which is where most of the majority is, most people who are in the hobby came from Scarlet and Violet. A lot of people, this is almost like their home. They saw it do well. They saw Paradox Rift, Temporal Force, Surging Spikes, Prismatic. They saw these sets come out. So there's this attachment to it. So what's happening is now people are going back and going like, man, you know, Paradox Rift is actually an okay set. Like, why did I use Paradox Rift? They're going like, man, you know, Paldea Evolved is actually not bad. 151 is great, man. Paldean Fates is phenomenal. And you know what it does? It's put this sense of comfortableness, right? Like, it's like your siblings. Usually around your siblings, you're more comfortable. You kind of just, you don't care, right? I think it's the same thing as this. It's like when you're close enough to a box, when a box is there for a long enough time, you kind of just get comfortable with it. Same thing with Paldean Fates. And then one day, eventually, each person one by one wakes up and realizes, holy shit, Paldean Fates is like light years ahead of any set. Like, that set is amazing. Then people go, holy moly, Paldea Evolved is really good. Holy moly, 151. Okay, those cards are really good, but you know what? Now that those cards are going up, it's only supporting the case more and more. So what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of confidence that the market would do really bad, and we're seeing that flip, where now those people are scrambling. But reprints. Yeah, okay, buddy, you've been saying that for a long time now. I'm waiting for those reprints. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, 151. Okay, well, when it came out, it was at MSRP, guys. So all Pokemon need to do is just reprint it, right? Like, no, that's not how it works. Usually, once it breaks MSRP, it generally doesn't go back down. Like Destined Rivals, I just want to be clear, if you're waiting for Destined Rivals to be widely available at retail price before you buy it, you're never going to buy it. Like, you're never going to own that booster box. That box has locked in its place. Maybe it fluctuates between 370 to 480, but it ain't going back down to retail. Heck no, it is not doing that. Now, I just want to quickly throw a random curveball, okay? Can we all agree that if Pokemon said, hey guys, we will never reprint Scarlet Violet again. This era is done, so we're putting all our printers to Phantasmal Flames. If they did that, every single box would double overnight. Every single one, overnight. So what that means is these boxes will double. It's just, we need to wait for it to be confirmed that there's no more reprints. Or we need a reprint to come, get eaten up, and then it goes out of print. So that's why we're seeing Paldea Evolved, widely reprinted set, Scarlet Violet base, widely reprinted set, doing these absolute numbers. And then we see 151. Sorry, I thought 151 didn't have any good hits inside. I thought it wasn't going to go up. What happened to that? Like, people are hating on my channel saying I should buy Prismatic Evolutions and those have better hits than 151. How's Prismatic going? Now, I love Prismatic, but today we're not talking about Prismatic. We're talking about the sets that a lot of people are FOMOing into because people are getting closer to admitting that there's not going to be any reprints of it. You see, Paldean Fates is a phenomenal example. Paldean Fates is the highest appreciating set from its MSRP going through booster bundle display. Now, we're not talking about like short printed things like the ETBs and stuff like that. We're just talking about just like widely printed stuff, right? So Paldean Fates displays have appreciated over 8x from retail. If you bought a Paldean Fates display, you'll be up over 8x on your money. That is ridiculous. So let's look at the king of the era right now. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It practically is. Not only is flipping every single set slowly but surely, flipping Paldea Evolved, flipping 151, and it's got its throne as the top set in the first block that is being out of print next year, right? So the first 6 sets, it's the one that's appreciated the most out of those 6. Okay, now let's look at the sentiment towards it. I saw this post about this guy talking about how expensive the Bubble is and how it's going insane and it's blowing up. And this guy commented, in fact, a lot of people commenting, saying that it's market manipulation, it's not real, that it's, how can that happen while it's still in print? I'll tell you how it can happen how it's still in print. Because it is. There you go. It's not crazy. It has a large demand. Let's look at Evolving Skies. The Evolving Skies Umbreon was, yeah, it was about the 700 range and it was still in print. Okay. So are we just gonna pretend like that never happened? Like, is that just, are we just gonna erase that from like history? Because this is not a new thing. Sets going up while in print is not a new thing. So these sets are picking up a serious amount of momentum. But the second they're out of print, GG's well played. The second they're out of print, holy moly, good game. These prices, holy crap. Because you know what the thing is? That Sword and Shield, when Sword and Shield was out of print, everything was sold out. It went on a massive run. Like, for the first couple of years that I was into Pokemon, I always saw Sword and Shield as, the boost boxes being like 130 or 120. I was like, yeah, Fusion Strike is that price. But then when it went up, for the first time, I looked at that and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, it didn't seem normal, right? It didn't register. But once it went up the first time, once it cracked 150, oh, it was a force to be reckoned with. Once it cracked 150, Fusion Strike has not stopped since. If you think that we're in a bubble and Pokemon has only been going crazy for the last couple months, nah. All of 2024, Fusion Strike sended it. In fact, I encourage you, look at some charts, look at some data. After this video, I would encourage you, look at sets. Once it starts to pick up momentum, it does not stop. Let's look at Fusion Strike, okay? Fusion Strike has literally gone up 100% from like 2 months ago to today. That's pretty crazy. Once it builds that momentum, it takes a lot for it to slow down. I mean, a lot. Like, Sun and Moon is a great example. Sun and Moon team up in 2021. I want to say 2021. My mind is really fogged, but I want to say 2021, 2022. Let's just say 2022 to be safe. Team up in 2022 was 600 USD a box, okay? Now let's just let that sink in. Team up, $600 a box. That is now a $9,000 booster box. Now, you know what's so crazy about this? The thing that's so crazy is, look at the chart. I'm just going to quickly put one on screen. Look at the chart. It doesn't stop going up. Once it took off, it was done. Like, look at the chart. It just doesn't stop going up because the scarcity is through the roof. Let's look at Evolving Skies. How quickly did it double from 1k to 2k? It was like that. It was instant. Evolving Skies, once it picked up momentum, it just didn't stop. Now, will we see it quiet down? Realistically, I don't know. I want to say there'll probably be a pullback, but realistically, I don't know. But more than likely, what I think will happen, can't guarantee it, but what I think will happen is, I reckon a lot of money is going to shift from the older eras, Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield. I reckon a lot of that money is going to shift in Scarlet Violet. Dude, look at Evolving Skies. It's a 2.5k box. Look at Team Up. It's a 10k box. Look at Unbroken Bonds. 2.5k box. Look at Fusion Strike. What, 1.3k box? And then look at Destin Riles. $400. $400? Oh my goodness. What do you mean $400? It's better than all of those. Okay, except for Team Up and the other dude. It's better than all of those. I reckon it was like 3k. Cosmic 5.5. Lost Origin. What about the like 900 range? All of these. You look at that and then you go, oh, whoa, hang on. Man, damn, Destin Riles is selling all the way up to $400. Shit, that's really damn cheap. Like, whoa. That's cheap, man. That's ridiculous. It's only being pulled down by one thing, and that's the fact that it's new. It's not a speculation. We know Destin Riles is a slam dunk. It's not a, oh, well, if this happens and then that happens and if this happens, then it might go up. If it doesn't get a short printed, if they don't reprint his artwork, if they don't do this, if they don't do that, oh, maybe, guys, we could be seeing some serious gains. Like, no, it's just, we will see serious gains. You buy Destin Riles now, you hold it for 3, 4, 5 years. Holy moly, people will beg to be in your situation. I don't know if you guys do this, but a lot of time what I do is I kind of like imagine where I was like 10 years ago. I think like, damn, I could have bought, I don't know, let's just say Team Up, right? I mean, technically it wasn't 10 years ago. Let's say 5 years ago. Oh man, what was I doing in 5 years ago, man? I really wish I bought at least one Team Up box. And then maybe you go back 10 years ago, man, what was I doing 10 years ago? I really wish I bought Bitcoin or something. Or I really wish I bought like Nvidia or something. And you kind of have like vivid memories of what you were doing. And you're thinking like, you know that scene in oh, what's that movie called? Where the guy's like banging on the glass? Oh, Interstellar. In Interstellar, where he's like banging on the glass. It's like, no, please. It's almost like you wish you could just like warp reality that you bought the item. Yeah, that's like literally me every single day. But the thing is, you know what? in the future, in 5 years time, you are going to be envisioning yourself in this spot right now, watching my video. I know my video is that like important that you're going to be, you're getting dreams about it. In fact, I'd be willing to bet when you die, one of the memories is going to be my videos. You're going to be like, man, what a key part of my memories. I'm kidding. The thing is, in 5 years time, you're going to be looking back and thinking, holy crap, I wish I bought more Destiny Rails. Every single one of us will look back and think, damn, I wish I bought more. Like Paladin Fates, me, I'm a great example. I have 4 displays, 7 release bundles, ETBs, 3-pack blisters, all this shit. I have so much Paladin Fates, right? And I think like, oh man, I really wish I bought more. Like I have so much of it, and I think like, damn, oh man, if only I bought more. Like, damn, bro. But you know what? Let's change it this time. This time, let's just keep buying. Let's work more hours. Let's clock in more hours. Let's save more money. You don't need to buy fast food. You can make it at home. You don't need to, I don't know, buy chocolate. You can eat raspberries. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like some inspirational stuff here. But the point is, in 5 years time, you're going to wish you bought more. So in order to ease that pain as much as possible, I mean, you only have one option, but just buy more Pokemon. I don't know about you, but I mean, honestly, I guess to make myself feel better later, I guess I'll just have to buy more Pokemon. I don't know, man. If this is not eye-opening, if these moves in the market is not like a push, I don't know what will be. But for a lot of you guys, I know it will be. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for all of us to take action on this. You're never too late in this market. Well, actually, no, that's bullshit. You are too late sometimes. But this time, you are just on time. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.